morning, everybody. I'm Charlotte Dack. I'm Area Manager for Culture Bridge North East, and I'd like to welcome you today to our Let's Play session. And thank you so much for coming along. It's great to see you all. This session today is called SoundWaves, and Culture Bridge North East, for those of you who don't know who we are Art Council England's bridge organisation for the North East, and our mission is to connect cultural sectors and the education sectors together so that children and young people have access to a really rich cultural education. So I'm really glad to see you all here today. So now I'd like to introduce and hand over to our facilitators for this morning. You've already met Kate and Jane. So Kate is our early years consultant here at Culture Bridge, and she leads on our Let's Play programme. And finally, our specialist speaker for today is Jane Parker from Take Art. Now, Jane comes with a wealth of specialist early years music experience and knowledge. We're really lucky to have her here today. She's a project coordinator, an educator and researcher, a practitioner, and she works with very young children. So without further ado, I'm going to hand you back over to Kate now, and I hope everyone has a really good morning. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Charlotte. That was a fabulous opening. So I'm going to mute now and hand over to Jane Parker. Have a great session, everybody.
Oh, thank you. So what I'm about to do, you will have a PowerPoint of the slides sent to you by email, and you will also have an additional handout. So feel free to make notes if you want to, but you will have a lot of stuff emailed to you. So it's an absolute honour and a privilege to be here this morning, and thank you so much indeed. Okay, without further ado, let me begin by sharing from the very beginning. So, SoundWaves, thinking about your enabling early years music environment. Now, I'm very aware on this Zoom today, we have such a gorgeous smorgasbord of people. I can see people that are teachers on the delegate list, generalists, classroom primary teachers. I can see early years practitioners, librarians, people from museums, and I can see music leaders from organisations and people that are also researchers and people that are also, people that are running their own early years music programmes. So it's quite a big ask for me to try and make you all happy this morning. I'm going to do my best. It's going to be a real mixture of things. So enjoy the ride. Okay, so an overview. This is about considering your musical environment in whatever way that looks like for you. So I'm going to begin by giving you a little bit of background, a little bit of context to my work at Take Art with the early years team. We're going to think about your belief system around your own musicality, because we can't ignore that in our work. We can't ignore you guys, in how you feel about doing music, or how your colleagues in your early year setting feel about doing music, or your whole culture of your school, how everybody feels about doing music. We cannot ignore that in our work that we do. Practical things, I could see that some of you are after ideas, so I will run a couple of ideas past you and share with you songs that we've done on our programme. We're going to talk about noticing that invisible musical environment, that spontaneous musical stuff that's going on. We're going to think about your work with stuff. That's a real research word, isn't it, for this morning? Stuff. Whatever you've got that you use. We're going to think about your auditory environment with a nod to my lovely colleague's work, Nicola Burke, who did some research on the auditory environment. And think about music that's meaningful to you. One of the things that you were requested to do in the email was to come and share something that is meaningful to you, a piece of music. Please don't worry if you haven't done it. It's not a test at all. And then a conclusion with main messages and thinking about your role. So, Take Art, we're an arts charity. I'm actually in Devon. I'm at the opposite end of the country from you guys. It takes me around about 7 hours to get up to Newcastle. I know that journey really well. My eldest child has just finished his engineering degree up in Newcastle, and now my middle daughter is up in Durham, training to be a primary school teacher. So I know that road up to the northeast incredibly well, and I just love the wonders of Zoom that I can join you all today up in the northeast. So who am I? I'm an early years music lead. Yes, I am from a youth music programme, thanks to youth music. funding to do a program called the SoundWaves Network. And there's me. This is my favorite place to be. So just to kind of put it in context, yes, I love being in settings. I was very fortunate to be in a setting yesterday. I was meant to be observing somebody, but within about sort of half an hour, I put my book down and just went and played on the floor. I can't resist joining people. And just being there all the time, it's great. So a lot of the stuff I'm going to show you today is from my own practice and from the practice of the artists that I'm working with. I'm also the research assistant and a mentor on another program that Take Art is involved with called Making and Believing. And that's a Paul Hamlin program, and we're working with artists again in early year settings. I'm also a mentor and a tutor on a program based in Birmingham at the Centre of Research for Early Childhood, where it's a program that's called the Certificate for Music Educators. It's an accredited program if you want to have an accreditation for being an early childhood music leader. And there they are. There's the students in action there. Yes, in the moment. I love that photo. Oh, it's obviously not quite levitating Lycra, but Crec's a magical place, but we haven't quite worked out how to levitate Lycra yet, but there it is. And my own background is I have done the MA in Early Childhood Music Education at Crec. I highly recommend that course for anybody that wants to go on and do that. So what's really interesting for us is to have a quick kind of understanding of where you fit in on this diagram. A lovely dear colleague of ours, Julie Digby, when she was doing her PhD, she set out this map of the incredibly diverse world of early childhood music. Can you just type in the chat, where are you on this map? What are you doing? So Helen says she's education. Kate's children's centres, now family hub. Education. Reception, school reception year. Education outreach projects. Reception class teacher, charity. Music hub, nursery, community, therapeutic, SEND, nursery, education, music specialist. Brilliant. Yeah, thank you so much, guys. That's really helpful. It's a real vast landscape, isn't it, that we're working in here. It's preschool, community toddler group, church groups, primary music specialist. Yeah. We wear many hats, don't we? We wear many hats in our role, and that takes skill. So never doubt your skills that you have. You are highly skilled people. You really all are. Okay, so a little bit of background with SoundWaves. We are on a 3-year youth music program. We're in the middle of it. So I'm going to share films from you today that were taken last month, but I'm also going to share films that were taken a few years ago. Okay, so just a brief background on what it is we are working with 8 music education hubs. You can see there they are. They're scattered across the Southwest. The Southwest is vast. It's absolutely vast, predominantly rural, but you've got Cornwall at one end, and then you've got Southampton for us in the Southwest way across. And then you've got going up north, you've got Bristol. It's a massive area. But our program is about bringing all these music education hubs together and really helping them develop high quality early childhood music. So what's it all about? So each music education hub gets 2 projects. And those projects are about putting 2 musicians into early year settings for half a day over 10 weeks. And what they do in that half a day, that roughly sort of 3.5 hours, is this. This is really important. They have time to reflect. And that's when you have that's when you have money from your youth music program to release people for non-contact time, to come out and chat and reflect together. The early years sector, reflecting with the music education hub sector, is incredibly important. And I would say in any project that I've done, this is the most important bit. This is equally important. This is the practice. So this is me and another colleague who's documenting this. This is a baby in here, by the way, working with students and early years practitioners in a baby room. So this is practice. And this is also a musician outside working with children in their child-initiated free play. So we have a whole lot of stuff that we do in half a morning. And also with Music Education Hubs, we help them with their early years music strategy. We help them to think and plan about their program. So Kate says reflective practice is so crucial. Absolutely. It does need to be financially resourced to provide cover for staff to come out of ratio. You're absolutely right, Kate. Budgeting this into our youth music application is crucial. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So for those of you that are here because you're thinking, I'm going to put in an application to youth music, and please do. They are most fantastic organisation. They are crying out for early years programs. So please do apply and build in time to reflect. Okay, our programme is evaluated by Susan Young, who's here today, and I also have the support of lovely Karen Wickett from the University of Plymouth. These two people are crucial as my mentors, and again, I know that Kate, last time we did your session, you talked about Jess Pitt being your mentor. So if you do a project, have somebody or have people that you can go to as your critical friend. It's absolutely crucial. Here's a bit more practice. This is a musician, Roger, working with children, playing with children. You know, he obviously, as a musician, he brought his djembe in. What do the children do? Turn it upside down and fill it with bricks. Of course they do. There's a lot of musical behaviour going on here as well. That's not a nervous look on Roger's face, just in case you, or is it? We also do a lot of training with the early years sector. So here's Eliza and here's two early years practitioners having a go, just having a bit of a jam along. I love this. At any opportunity you do training, people are always out with cameras, aren't they? Can you do it again? Can you repeat that song again? It's great. What else do we build into our programme? Time to work with the early years workforce. These guys give up their evenings over six evenings where we do a course for them, and this course is open nationally and internationally. So the next course we're doing is in April. Book on it if you want to, that's absolutely fine. But it's a course that early years practitioners can do, and then a number of them do go on to then start to do this one, which is the 1-year part-time course at the Centre of Research for Early Childhood. So there we go. That we support. And then the final project that we do is called Making and Believing. This artist here, Rich, he works with another artist, and here he is, brought in his provocation. I'm not quite sure if it's his upside down fondue set. I'm not quite sure, but I'm all more intrigued about what's happened to this child. Maybe the child's in here, who knows? We'll think about imagination in a minute in our work. But yeah, so just to kind of share with you. And the final element of our take art work in Making and Believing is taking theatre work into early years settings. That's another thing that we do. So it's a real rich collection of work that we do. And again, Sue is researching on this as well for us. So let's have a look at the timings. We're okay. I'm going to now hand back over to Danny, who's going to do a Menti review.
Hi, everyone. I am just putting a link in the chat for you all, and then I'm just going to share my screen with you.
And just try and be as honest as you can. Thanks, Danny. So we're not going to put up your answers until we can see how many people have we got here today? 35. So maybe I would expect probably about 30 people. That blue sign down there says 4, 5 have submitted so far. So your own belief system. How musical? I am musical. Do you disagree? Strongly disagree? Or do you strongly agree? 16 people. And I guess maybe the one thing I haven't covered here is essential if you're repeating this exercise is maybe to define what we mean by musical. And that again could take an entire Zoom, couldn't it? What do we mean by musical? But as an interesting idea, we'll just wait till we get up to about 30. Yes, Kate, what is music? You could spend, yes, absolutely. You could spend a year unpicking that one. Absolutely. Well, we're going to have a little bit of a 2 hours thinking about that. We're almost up to that golden number of 30. We might not reach it because it's tricky, isn't it? Some of you might be doing this on your phone. Some of you might be doing it on another screen. Okay. I think we can share those results now. Let's have a look. Okay. Can you also put your marker along that line, Danny? If you put your cursor along that line, that's fascinating. 4 people in this Zoom disagree. They strongly think they are not musical. That's 4. 2 people moved along a bit. 3 people moved along a bit. And then we've got 11 of you think that you're heading towards you're strongly agreeing. And then at the end, we've got 9 of you strongly agree. But nevertheless, we've still got 6 of you that are over the other side. And you've all got your own reasons. And don't worry about answer. That's completely anonymous. Okay, that's fascinating. Should we move on to your next belief system? Please rate the following. I consider the children I work with to be musical. Let's see if we can get up to 30 again. So where do you put your belief system for the children? Do you strongly disagree or do you strongly agree? Or are you going to go for that? Are you going to go for that middle option? We call that social desirability bias. People like to keep it safe, put it in the middle. So when you devise surveys, never give them the option of the middle number because they will tend to go for that. Okay, we're almost up to 30. 4 more of you having a bit of a ponder. It's not a trick question. Couple more seconds. Okay, interesting. Okay, so 4 of you don't think you're musical, but you all think the children are musical. So you rate your own musicality below the children's. That's interesting. What's happened there? So effectively, you think the children are more musical than you. Or maybe you've been swayed by other things because you've seen the answers to the first mentee. But it is really fascinating, isn't it? And how much do you take your own belief system back into your work? And when we at SoundWaves, we do our work and with Making and Believing, we are thinking about our musicality, our creativity, and possibly we have to address that issue. We have to address that issue of how we think about our own creativity when we're doing our work, because that affects our work with our children, okay? It's a bit like me saying, I'm not mathematical. So therefore, I'm not mathematical. It's the same sort of thing, isn't it? It's fascinating. Okay, thanks, Danny, for sharing that. Brilliant. Okay, any questions so far before I continue on? Anybody want to say anything? No. Okay, Helen's still congratulating herself that she's done menting. Well done, Helen. Okay, right, let's continue. Make sure I've got my sound. Oh, not that one. I want that one. Brilliant. Right. So thank you for playing with me there and thinking about how musical are you? And imagine if your colleagues in your early years setting had answered that. Now, I'm making a bit of a guess that you're here today because you're interested in this. What about the people that aren't here today? So how would your colleagues have answered that question? I wonder. Okay, So if we look at the DFE, they talk about enabling environment. An enabling environment is described as a rich, stimulating and safe space, offering opportunities to play, to learn, and to explore both physically and mentally. We get it. We get it. Okay. But today is all about your musical environment. So my question to you is your musical environment, is it rich? Is it stimulating? Does it offer a safe space for opportunities to play and to learn and to explore both physically and mentally? I'm just going to pose that question for you to think about. So this Zoom is all about how do we meet children's musical needs in our environment? And we're going to keep coming back to that question to answer it. So for us in our work, the first thing that we do is we'll offer those children playful repertoire, the rhymes, the songs. So I am now going to share with you, this is the moment some of you have been waiting for. I really hope you're not disappointed. I'm going to share with you some ideas because some of you came when I read ideas. Okay, just feel free to join in with me. Please don't sit like this as I'm doing it because I just feel like I'm kind of on my own. So just feel free, just join in. I live by the sea, by the way. I'm really lucky. So I've kind of chosen these two that are by the sea. Here we go. Join in with whichever way is the most comfortable for you. That's it. You've got it. Here is the sea. The wavy sea. Here is the boat. And here is me. What? Huh? And all the fishes down below wriggle their tails and away they go. Again, ready, steady, off we go. Here is the sea, the wavy sea. Here is the boat, and here is me. Ooh. Huh? Oh. Oh. And all the fishes down below wriggle their tails and away they go. Okay, so there's a rhyme that I was doing, and you're probably thinking, did she forget the words halfway through? What's happening there? When I do things, I leave massive spaces for children. For me, it's all about possibly not finishing the rhyme, because I find that with the boat, the children will then, ooh, and all of that, and we go off at tangents. Ooh, all that voice play, all of that will go off at I don't know what direction. So there's all that voice play. But in terms of the musical skill, because I always have to think, why am I doing this rhyme? Why am I doing this rhyme? It's not just because my theme is all because the sea. What's the musical learning here? What is the musical learning? What am I reinforcing here? Anybody want to put in the chat? What's the musical learning here? What's that musical skill that I am reinforcing with that rhyme? There's one key thing that I am doing. Thank you. It's the beat. The beat, the steady beat. That's it. That's all I'm doing. I'm just reinforcing that. We were playing with our voices as well, absolutely. But the musical concept, because this is music, is the beat. Okay. All right. So here's another song that I had permission last week from my lovely friend Jess Pitt to share with you all. And it goes like this. There's two different versions that she's written of this song. Oh, the fish are swimming, swimming, swimming. Oh, the fish are swimming, swimming in the... Kate says, waves. Waves, Kate? Charlotte, we don't know.
In the sea.
In the sea.
In the sea.
Oh, the fish are swimming, swimming, swimming. Oh, the fish are swimming, swimming in the pond. Of course they're in the pond, Kirsty. Of course they are. Absolutely. Not in the sea, Kate. Come on. The other version that Jess is this one. It's a bit more upbeat. Oh, the fish are swimming, swimming, swimming. Oh, the fish are swimming, swimming in the sea. Okay. So again, what was the musical skill? Why was I teaching the children that particular song? That was a song. The other one was a rhyme because it was spoken words. Just pop your answers in the chat. Oh, the fish are swimming. Oh, the fish are swimming. Yep. Limited notes. Yep. Tempo. The melody. Yep. For them to sing back the melody. Absolutely. And also, they are still showing me the beat, the beat, the beat, the beat. They're still showing me the beat. Thank you. Okay. And also, yeah, that song has really limited notes. So if you look at my fingers, oh, the fish are swimming, swimming, swimming. Oh, the fish are swimming, swimming in the sea. Ooh, it only uses 1, 1, 2, 3, 4 notes. It doesn't jump all over the place. You want to set your children up to achieve. You want them to be able to sing those notes back to you. So let's go back and continue to share my PowerPoint. Okay, so there's the first one. That was taught to me orally by a lovely dear friend of mine called Zoe Greenhouse. I said to Zoe, where did you get this? Because it's really important that anything that you teach, you credit. It's incredibly important. Zoe simply learned it from a library book when her children were young that she got out. But we did have a go at tracing it a few weeks ago. We think it's possibly a traditional Australian rhyme. There is nobody to credit with that. And there's Jess's song there, which Linda has put in her Music for Early Learning. Okay, so, and how did Jess's song actually look in practice? Well, here's your lycra. Here's the fish. Of course, these are the fish. This is holy lycra. The fish ended up being sucked down in the holy lycra. Here's a fish. Of course, it's a fish. Here's the fish again. What was he doing this time? Oh, here's the other fish here. What are they doing here? So the song goes off in different directions, doesn't it? We don't know what's going to happen, but that's the beauty of doing simple repertoire. Repeat, repeat, repeat as well. So I always ask the people I'm working with, why did you teach that rhyme? Or why did you teach that song? That's a question I always ask. Why? What are the skills that we are helping to grow? So, and this lovely, I love this. This is a child. Of course, it's a child. If you ever look up the work of Reggio Emilia, there's lovely sort of self-portraits that you can see online. I just love that one. So here's what you are feeding the child. This is what you're putting in their bank. This is what you're doing with them day to day. And this is why you're doing it. Playful communication, anticipation, swimming in the sea, whatever it is, we don't know, and release. Who's leading? Well, I started by leading, but I certainly wasn't leading by the end. It's social interaction. It's a ritual. It focuses on the present moment, as well as the interconnectedness between players. It's a lovely example of infant-adult interaction and draws upon Daniel Stern's work of human intersubjectivity. I'll focus just a little bit on that, a tiny bit more. We could do whole Zooms on all of this, but this is why. And of course, yes, you told me that. It reinforces steady beat subconsciously. You're not going to start your whole lesson. Now, today's learning objective is to reinforce steady beat. It's always subconscious. Subconsciously, when the parent is bouncing that child up and down on their knee, all of that is reinforcing steady beat because children need to experience it. Children will be moving. Now, I don't often, as my Susan Young, you're probably looking at it thinking, oh, why have we got the brain up? Well, I'll tell you why we got the brain up is because I took this little diagram from an article with Trevathan and Aitken back in 2001, because it's not only, I don't want people to look at the brains. I want you to think about that mirroring that's going on there. This lovely shared experience. Why are we doing these rhymes and songs? This lovely shared experience. I think it's quite intimate. I think when I was doing that initial rhyme with you, here is the sea, and then suddenly my finger popped up. It's quite intimate, isn't it? It is really it's a shared experience. It's intimate. These guys are mirroring here. It's playful. It can be non-verbal. With the fingers, we were non-verbally communicating. Both the adult and the child is involved. It's mutually regulated. What Trevathan and Aitken say is to synchronize rhythmic turn-taking transactions that promote the intercoordination and awareness of positive brain states in both adult and child. Okay, so babies and very young children have an awareness of steady beat pulse. So let's build on it by giving them opportunities to experience it. So here's another song written by another lovely colleague called Linda Bantz that I'm going to do with you. I'm going to have a child for this one. Goes like this. Just move this back a bit. Wow, big ball. Roll the ball, roll the ball, roll the ball to Kate. Kate, you've got the ball. Can you roll it back to me? Ready, Kate? Let's do it again. Roll the ball, roll the ball, roll the ball to Kate. Nina, 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 Nina. Kate, you've got the ball. Can you roll it back to me? Okay, so another little song for you there. Let's go back and share my screen again. So yeah, that song is by Linda Bantz and can be found in Voice Play. Here it is in action. This is a 16-month-old, and the person that he's rolling the ball to is an 8-year-old. Think about the musical skills here.
Josh has got that ball. Roll it back to Tom.
Okay, we're going to do it one more time. I want you to watch the 16-month-old. There's clearly a musical skill that he's showing you there with his whole body. But I want you to also watch the 8-year-old's hand, because there's a musical skill that he is also subconsciously showing you.
Josh has got that ball. Roll it back to Tom.
Okay. Well, hopefully you picked up on two real key things in terms of musical skills. So the 16-month-old was showing you steady beats with his whole body. He was showing you that. And also he was pitch matching, wow, bow, wow, bow, those two notes. So he was showing you those two notes. The 8-year-old, if you noticed with his hands, he was showing you the rhythm. Okay, nobody asked him to do that, by the way. He was just subconsciously showing you the rhythm there. So you can see sort of the musical skills that are coming up there with that. Let's just check. We've got another one in the chat. Non-verbal communication, yes. Absolutely. 8-year-old perfect phrasing, singing in steady beat. Oh, okay. Thank you, Kate. So again, why did we teach that song? And that song works really well with any age group, actually. What's the skills that we're helping to grow? Again, of course, it's a 4-year-old. I love this, 4-year-old. Here's your child in your setting. Here's what the bank of songs that you are doing. Here's Roll the Ball. Why are you doing it? You are helping them to reinforce that steady beat. Subconsciously, they may be showing you, that 16-month-old was showing you. Children need to move. They are multimodal. They need to move. And those children were moving. Voice play. Thanks, Kate. You mentioned that. Children need to explore their voices. I wouldn't expect someone to pick up a violin and start to play it without really pushing it to its limits and exploring it. That's the same with our voice. We need to explore it. And pitch matching. Wow, Bo! Set children up to achieve. Keep your song to a manageable, narrow pitch range if your objective is you want the children to sing it. If you want the children to sing it, set them up to achieve. Okay. Oh, brilliant. Thank you for that. Yes, thank you. Okay, great. Just checking in the chat there. So, moving on, how do we meet children's musical needs in our environment? We're going to move on now to the next thing that we do in our SoundWaves project. So we go in and we do songs and we do rhymes with the staff and with the children. But we also say to the staff and the children, are you noticing and valuing children's spontaneous vocal musical behaviours? Are you doing that? Well, it's invisible. Music is invisible, guys. It's incredibly difficult to capture. It happens in the moment, isn't it? It's okay for children doing their mark making, their paintings, you know, actually building something. They can show you that, and you know, that's great. Music, really difficult to show, isn't it? Yeah, unless you actually get your tablet out and record it. So we, as the early years practitioners, need to tune in and notice it in their everyday play. So there are several types of musical behaviours. You've got chanting. Ha, 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 ha. That sort of chanting that you hear that goes out onto the playground. Ha, 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 ha. That sort of chanting. Oops, let's go that way. You've got free flow, vocal doodling. Tends to happen a lot in the toilet. They're very difficult, obviously safeguarding, do not capture it in there, but it tends to happen a lot, or in tunnels, or when children are mark making, or moving around, that whole vocal doodling. Amy says, some of my reception year were drawing dragon pictures. They decided to draw grass and sky. One started singing green, green grass, blue, blue skies as they were colouring. Love it, Amy. Brilliant. Thank you for that. That's great. Also, children are reworking well-known songs. So don't be surprised if we hear jingle bells, jingle bells, jingle bells in July. Because they are imitating, and it may be in a certain style. You know, it might be, you know, let it go. I remember when I was doing a lot of my research, my MA, there was the let it go, and it was that real sort of American twang, let it go. So they will imitate. And vocal drama, you know, we've all seen children pick up the dinosaurs, rah, 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 rah. So listen out for those 4 key things. Sue, who's here today in her music with under 4s, comments on these examples of spontaneous musical behaviour. There are others as well, but at the moment I would say for you guys, concentrate on those 4, notice them, document them. We've got an awful lot of examples of those on our website, along with the videos that most of the videos that I'm sharing with you today. So what did I do? I noticed this 2-year-old playing with the Stickle bricks, and he was chanting, "Mommy car, mommy car, mommy car, mommy car." Let's hear it.
Mommy car. Mommy car. Mommy car, mommy. It's mommy car, mommy car. Mommy car, mommy car, mommy car, mommy car.
Okay, so hopefully you heard that mommy car, and I know that That video is also on Nicola's Musical Development Matters website as well, and she's put some really helpful things in there. But you could hear the "Mummy car, Mummy car." You could hear those 3 notes, that chanting. There's one example. Here's another example. This is quite quiet, but he's actually going wah, 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 wah. He's got a litter picker in his hands. And this was captured by an early years practitioner. When I wasn't in this setting, her job during the week, her homework was to pick up her tablet. And when she heard the children spontaneously vocalizing, to try and record it. And she got a real gem for me here, which I'm hoping you'll be able to hear. It's quiet. Yeah, very quick, isn't it? 6 seconds. Incredibly hard to capture, isn't it? It's very, very hard. Okay, let's just check on the chat. What else have we got here? Oh, thank you for putting the links in. That's brilliant. Okay. And then the final example is one we captured just 2 weeks ago in our current project that we're working on. Let's have a look at this one.
What about bananas?
Okay, put your thoughts in the chat there. Kate says, so sustained and focused, almost like a film track. Da da doo-ga-doo, da ga doo-ga-doo. Repeated rhythm gets more confident. I'm being hypnotized. Thanks, Chris. Is it Baby Shark? Interesting, Charlotte. The practitioner showed the film to the parents. He is obsessed with Baby Shark, but it felt it possibly as we don't know actually is the answer. I'm always amazed at how long they stay in the moment. Yeah. Does anybody else want to comment on any of that? Sustained real concentration. Yeah. Anybody else? If you were sort of analyzing that patterns, Chris again, self-soothing. Yeah, interesting you say that, Chris. Yeah. Yeah. A schema. Yeah. Rhythmically complex. Thanks, Rosie. Interesting you say that. Style of stimming. Yeah. Following interests. Yeah. Lining up objects. Now, a bit of context with this child. This child does not speak. Just to let you know, if he wants to go to the toilet, he vocalizes. He plays on his own. If someone had tried to interact with the child, would they have engaged? Interesting. That's really interesting. Yes, the music practitioners, he is really engaging in the play partner work with the music practitioners. That's a really good question. Lining up objects. Anything, any other thoughts? Round and round. Yeah, thanks, Jenny. Is it that rare for that child? So is it that rare for that child? No, the child sings a lot in the setting, Charlotte. The child goes from one activity to another, flits from one thing to another, but vocalizes, sings a lot. Repetitive. Do the practitioners copy his sounds to communicate with him? Yes, they do, Kirsty. So then they can play together. Yes, they do. I often see non-speaking children sing a lot, just not words. Yeah. Yeah. Brilliant. Okay. So hopefully that sort of is interesting for you guys. Now, I think at this point, yes, we're going to stop. Hey, it's a good time to stop before we go on to think about instruments. And when we come back, we're going to give you 2 questions for you to have a think about to discuss in breakout rooms. So this is a point when about 30 of you leave like, no, not breakout rooms. You don't have to go in a breakout room. If you want to stay behind and just chat to me, that's cool. Or if you don't want to go in a breakout room, that's fine as well. Okay, over to you, Kate.
Wow, thank you, Jane. That's absolutely amazing. I completely lost track of time. That's so engaging. Thank you so very much. Let's all take a 10-minute break now and just do step away from your screen because it's not good for our eyes, is it? So let's take a 10-minute break. Danny's going to stick a timer up on the screen. Don't worry, we're all going as well, so you're not going to miss anything. So we'll see you back here in 10 minutes. Thank you.
Welcome back. Kate, did you want to say anything before we continue?
No, I don't think so. I mean, I've been keeping an eye on the chat, but it seems you have as well. So I don't think we've missed any burning questions. If anyone does have questions, I'll just, pop them in the chat, but no, we're good to go.
Good to go. Okay, great. Okay, so here we go. I'm just going to move this out of the way. How do we meet children's musical needs in our environment? Do you remember that was the question that I said we keep the thread of this entire Zoom thinking about that. So we've already thought about rhymes and songs, and we've already thought about, us as adults noticing that spontaneous musical behavior. So now I'd like you to write down these questions. So does our work with instruments or props encourage, provoke musical communication? or does it maybe not? There's always 2 sides to everything. My questions are 3 things for you to discuss in your breakout rooms. No need to report back to us unless you want to do it via chat. It's just for you to talk with people and say, hi, who are you? What are you doing? Where are the instruments in your setting? I could give you all day on the answers to this myself, but this is interesting. Where's the adult when instruments are out? What's the role of the adult? So 3 questions there. Okay. 3 questions. If you don't want to go in a breakout room, that's absolutely fine as well. Just stay back, chat with us, or if you need more time to go off and do other stuff for about sort of 7 minutes, then go and do that. It's not a problem. Okay, so off we go into breakout rooms. Thanks, everybody. Great to see you back. We're just having a look. Some of you put stuff in the chat. In the main nursery, we have project work where we have documented sound linked work. and have done lots of lovely experiments all around sound waves and pitch. Any music documentation goes in our theatre planning book, where we can reflect as practitioners. Oh, theatre planning book. Amy says we do scarf dancing. Oh, lovely. With different songs, fast, slow, happy. Yeah, sounds great. Okay, brilliant. I hope that was useful. I hope it was just useful for you to network with other people as well. Yes, good question, Charlotte. Is a theatre book like a floor book? That's a good question. We follow the Kapow primary music scheme and also have twice weekly singing sessions. We're looking for other ways to encourage music in our continuous provision. Thank you. If anybody else wants to comment, we use music to allow children to develop understanding of emotional literacy. Thank you. Brilliant. Okay. Okay, that's fascinating. Our music coordinator has just started a music ebook. I think we all want to know what a music ebook is. There's so many questions and not enough time. Amy, we just won Choir of the Year. Wow. So hopefully we're doing something right in the EYFS. I think so. Choir of the Year, Amy. Wow. People are like, what's Choir of the Year? How does that work? So many questions, not enough time for answers, but keep chatting to each other while I'm carrying on. Brilliant. Okay. Thanks, everybody. I'm going to continue, but please feel free to continue to chat to each other. So, yes, it says we have a planning book for each area. It's A3 size art book we use. We use this to reflect possible lines of development, sometimes add in children's work like a floor book. Yeah, completely got that. Okay, great. Right, okay, so thank you for, oops, let's just put that there. There we go. Now we're cooking with gas again. Right, okay. I'm going to show you a film that started all by itself. This is a film. The context here is it's a children's centre environment, I picked up the camera myself. I documented this myself. It is a film that's up on our Take Art. It was taken a few years ago, and then my lovely two colleagues, Jess Pitt and Charlotte Arculus, used the film for some of their work, and then put some really helpful documentation over the top. Let's see what they have to say. Communicative musicality in action. Colwyn Trevarvan coined the phrase communicative musicality. Okay, so that's one example of what work is with instruments. The context there was that child came into my my enabling environment, and my simple provocation was my gathering drum. The child was with his dad and his grandparents. I didn't say anything to the grandparents or the dad about not talking or anything like that. That's just what happened. Okay, so let's move on. Whoops-a-daisy. Let's go to the next one. The setup here is, this is me working in a room with 2-year-olds. I love working with 2-year-olds. And so here, my provocation is my guitar. So I came into this room, I brought my guitar in, and this lovely little guy here came straight across to me and obviously wanted to play my guitar. Why not? Why not? So I've sat myself down next to him. There's a growing audience of curious onlookers here. Let's see what happens. And think about, what's my role? What's my role here?
Oh. The guitar. Ah. A guitar. Again? Guitar. There's a guitar. A guitar. A guitar.
Okay, so you might be thinking, well, that's all very well. It's all one-to-one work at the moment, isn't it? Okay, let's show you another example that isn't one-to-one work. So the situation here is myself and another musician on the project are in this preschool setting. So we have the musician here, we have an early years practitioner here, an early years practitioner here, and an early years practitioner here. Keep by their hair there. All we did in this environment was we just set up things at different levels, something on tables that wasn't music, the ocean drum here, a group of drums here, and here something that again wasn't music. So let's see what this looks like. What does musical play of instruments look like now? Now this might be a little bit noisy, so let's give it a play and see how far we get. So the children are aged 3 and 4 here. And yes, This girl was absolutely obsessed with tower building. There is a lovely photo that I will share another time with you. She did end up building her tower of djembe drums, with Eliza there thinking, how many more djembe drums is she going to add to this tower? Okay, let's have a look and see what you're saying here. Sorting objects, interaction, all characteristics of effective learning on display here. Imagination, sharing, one-to-one work in the middle of a noisy room. It was a noisy room. And my question to you is, did it bother the children, the noise? We don't know actually is a full answer, but yeah. The other thing we decided as a group fairly early on in our project was to just be aware of our talking and just to be aware of what we were saying, what were we saying to the children, why were we saying it, and to think about our talking. We didn't have a rule of, right, we're not going to talk, but it was just to be aware of it. And we found ourselves talking less and noticing more. Just to have see if there's anything else in the chat that people are saying. Purposeful noise, thank you. Loud drummers gradually came together to find some kind of beat. Oh, brilliant. Drums drew some of the other children in who were playing elsewhere. Lots of chatter. Thanks, Kath. Okay, so the other important thing for us in instrument work is this: silence. Silence is as important as a sound, surely. This is a lovely photo of an early years nursery teacher. This is in her room. And just her role there was to mirror, model, turn take, synchronize with this child. And they spent time just in silence. Also, don't just think it's with instruments. So here's another music practitioner, and her instrument this time was bringing along paper. Just paper, crayons. You'll see a film at the end where she is vocal doodling with this child here, all just to provoke, encourage that musical interaction. And also think about what else you're using. So this was literally 2 weeks ago in a setting. This is an overhead projector. Those wonderful devices that we use, those of us that were trained teachers a number of years ago, the overhead projectors. If you've got one, get it out and use it. So this is an artist, Rich, who is working on our Making and Believing project. And in a room with 2, 3 and 4-year-olds. And he simply brought along the OHP, and the children started to put things on it, as you can see. That's the first step. Oh, then we start to explore, what's this? What could this be? What does this light do? And you're probably thinking, what's the point here, Jane? This is a music program. Hang on. Oh, we see the shadows. Wow. It's interesting, it took them a while to work out that the shadows were being projected opposite onto some linen cloth that the artist had hung down. And let's start to now play with this lovely little flippy lid here. See what happens with the shadows. Now, why am I showing you this in a project that's to do with music for your learning here? Well, because meanwhile, my role is to capture this. I captured vocal doodling twice. Let's hear it.
Looking at the shadows it's making up in the scene there. Look at that. Can you wiggle? Like that leaf, look. Oh, wiggle, wiggle. Oh my, ever so cute. Look, there's a wiggly one on there now, Maya. There's a wiggle, wiggle. Wiggle, wiggle. Oh, Ian's taking it away.
I also made the mistake of putting my hand over the top of the microphone on the tablet, so bear with this. I do think you need someone else to document, Kate, yes.
Hey, we've got a big roller coaster. He's outside. Yeah.
This was a gathering drum. By this stage, the children weren't using it as a drum. They were actually positioning it then to project their shadows onto. That's example. Here's example number 2.
Oh! Wow! Oh!
Did you hear that? Whoa, oh, oh, oh. And then the artist Rich. Whoa, oh, oh, oh. There's so much more happening there as well. Okay, so at this point, I want you to think about children's imagination. Possibility thinking, which is a key theoretical idea by Anna Kraft. This egg whisk, what can it be? What can I do with it? What are the possibilities? So again, going back to that question that threads through this session, how do we meet children's musical needs in our environment? Well, another thing is, are we considering their auditory environment? How do we nurture their imagination? And you may have picked it up on the recording there, just to backtrack. On that the final recording there, the artist had chosen to put on some background music to see how that affected the sort of the mood, which I found really fascinating. They'd hidden just a speaker underneath one of the gathering drums, which was really fascinating. Okay, out of interest, in the chat now, can you just put in what music is meaningful to you and why? So that little bit of homework we asked you to do, what's your favourite track and why? Just pop it in the chat. What's your favourite track and why? Let's see, are we having a bit of a think? Let's start to have a look at these answers. Where to begin? Chopin's Nocturnes reminds me of my father playing. Thanks, Kath. So many, all linked to people and memories. Yeah. Any Westlife, no matter what mood I'm in. Oh, wedding, song we walk down the aisle to. Obvious. True Colours, the song of my wife, and the song my wife and I danced to. Oh, it's so lovely. Oh, so lovely. Oh, I'm going to start crying now. So many, but I love The Pretenders. Don't get me wrong, because it reminds me so much of family holidays and traveling in the car listening to this. Yes, Here Comes the Sun. Total Praise, just love gospel music. Thanks, Jill. Nostalgic songs for me. Danny Boy, Rosalie, that I would sing to my children when they were babies. The A Dear song from The Sound of Music. Oh, yes. Do a dear, a female dear. Because my parents couldn't read to me as a child and would sing to me instead. Oh, Danielle, this song makes me feel loved and times together. Oh, goodness me, don't start crying, Jane. Anything Joni Mitchell linked to my own singing background. Oh, thanks, Claire. Come on, Eileen, come on, Eileen. My dad always used to dance with us at family parties. I can't hear it now without dancing and smiling at this memory. Yes, Leanne. I have so many, couldn't possibly name one. Anything by Herb Alpert and Cintiani Brass will always bring me joy, as it is the music I grew up with. Thanks, Helen. anything with a story. Oh, Bare Necessities, Disney sing-along songs with my daughter as a toddler. Phantom of the Opera, Honeymoon, Broadway, Goosebumps, yeah. Sammy Davis Jr., Candyman is our family Friday song. My husband used to sing it to my pregnant tummy, and now the four of us sing it together at the start of most Fridays. Oh, Helen. Oh, I can sing a rainbow. It was a song I learned 11 years ago when I had my first class. I've introduced it to every class since, and it's so calming. I love how I can use British Sign Language for the colours. Every child can access it. Every child is so zen after singing it. Perfect to the end of the day. Oh, wow, look at this. I'm reading them all. Also connected to important people, connections. You're absolutely right, Kate. Childhood songs, Tiptoe Through the Tulips. My gran used to sing this. Dad used to tell the story of the three billy goats. Gruff. Oh, goodness me, guys. I feel so honoured. Flowers, sweet female attitude, dancing with friends, takes me back. But yes, impossible to really choose one. You're absolutely right, Vanessa. It is, isn't it? Annie's song. Oh, sung it as solo. So we need to be connecting to this music in the home. You've got it, Kate. You've absolutely got it in one. Anything by Harry Styles. Oh. Oh, guys, I feel truly honoured to be let into your worlds there. Thank you for sharing that. And I think you've made the connection, Kate. So my question to you is, have you found out what songs or rhymes are meaningful to the child, the children, the children's family, and to your own colleagues? Your own colleagues and staff that you work with? Create a Spotify list. Put that music on in your setting. Watch how the child moves to it. Put in your staff room, put a list of songs up, put the names of the staff and see if people can connect it, see if they can work it out. Wow, I didn't know that so-and-so was into punk rock. Wow, I learned something new about them every day. Really fascinating. So my question to you is, this is from YouTube. Imagine now that this child, this is America, turns up to your setting and her dad have just been listening to this. Have you connected with this in your setting? How would you know? What's your next steps? So when that child arrives in your setting and you do Twinkle, Twinkle, Little Star, and you maybe think, well, they're not musical, they're not joining in. Of course you wouldn't think that. We know that. But say that, are you connecting with what that child just listened to? How would you know? I'm just keeping an eye on the chat here. Let's have a look. Yes, this is my children when they were young in the back of my dad's car. Yes, absolutely. Making playlists of favourite songs from home is so simple and effective. Do check the lyrics. I do agree with that. So yeah, absolutely worth it. This is doing the rounds at the moment on TikTok. That's completely viral. What about this one?
Okay. Okay.
I'm going to play that one more time for you because there's a number of musical skills there, isn't there, the child's showing you.
Okay. Okay.
Okay, any comments on that as I check the old chat? This is why it's essential that we get parental view into the child's learning and opportunities in the home. What song is she dancing to? I've absolutely no idea. My 21-year-old son showed me that. He said, it's doing it. It's viral, mum. So yeah, Steady Beat nailed it. Absolutely. It's really fascinating. Okay, let's move on. See if there's anything else in the chat before I move on. Little raver in the making. Okay. So my lovely friend, dear colleague that some of us know really well, for her MA, was really interested and still continues to be in thinking about the child's auditory environment. And so back in 2016, connected with her MA, she worked in 2 children's centres and simply asked the parents, what music do you listen to at home with your child? And this was the answers that she got back in 2016. Religious music, Somalian music, Kurdish music, punk rock, reggae, indie, country and western, Catholic prayer hymns, cartoon music, music from Sudan. Never assume, guys, never assume. So yeah, and I highly look at this fantastic, I highly recommend Nicola's most amazing resource, which is at the macbirmingham.co.uk, Mac Makes Music, tune into listening resource, where she has compiled beautiful footage of children listening to recorded music and how they respond to it, and how nurseries, the 2 nurseries that she worked with, how they built programs around this. It's fantastic, rich stuff. So just think about your recorded music and why you're doing what you're doing. Thank you for putting the link in, really appreciate that. Great, thanks, Leanne. Oh, brilliant, love it.
Jane,
yes,
sorry to jump in, but
Go
I think
for
you've only got a couple of minutes. I'm really
Oh,
sorry.
I'm almost there.
I'm so
almost
sorry.
There. Hey, I'm on my summary. There we go. That's good. So how do we meet children's musical needs in our environment? Understand why you're doing a particular rhyme or song. Watch the children. And I mean really watch the children. What are they doing? What are they really doing? Are they really keeping a beat? Are they really matching your pitch? Secondly, be musically playful in your everyday interactions. Scaffold their musical play. Talk less. Be the child's non-verbal musical play partner. Thirdly, tune into the child's way of being musical. Value the child's music. Reinforce and extend what the child can already do. When invited to be the child's musical play partner, mirror, turn take, synchronize, intensive interaction. Interacting, or are you interfering? Wait. When you finish waiting, watch. When you finish watching the child, start to wonder. Waiting and watching and wondering about children is a time-consuming business. You can read the rest of that later because you'll get the slides. But yes, very important. Find the spontaneous music that's already happening in your setting, and it will be sometimes quiet. Those vocalizations will be quiet. I really had to tune in when I was filming that child to really listen. Find out what recorded music that your children are already listening to. And finally, here's a film I'm hoping that's going to sum it all up for you. There we go. So we've already put that in the chat. If you want to book on, the next one starts summer term. Any further questions, please email me. These will be on your slides, and there's my references at the end. And I think we're done. Hey, there we go.
Oh, Jane, thank you so much. That was wonderful. Thank you so much. We could have gone on the rest of the day, I think, couldn't we? Wow.
Hey, give me days and days.
Oh, wow, fantastic. I'm already thinking about how we can bring that course specifically up to the Northeast, so leave it with me. I'm going to ask people to fill in another mentee just really quickly before we go. I often find if I attend training, if I just jot down a few little affirmations, I'm more likely to follow up afterwards. So I'm going to ask Danny to share the mentee, please. Thank you. And I want you to have a think about I won't. Anything from today that you think, oh, I'm not going to do that anymore. It's www.menti.com. The code is 34491671. And if you prefer, just pop it into the chat. That's also fine. So I won't. Just have a little think. Just take a minute. I won't underestimate what music is already happening in nursery. Brilliant. Brilliant. Jane, do you want to read out some of these? Because I feel like I've taken over your session.
I won't talk as much. Yeah, that's my big problem as well. I won't fill all the silences. Yeah. I won't talk so much. Yeah. Oh, singing out of tune. Listen, your voice is the most special thing. Don't you worry. Hear the instruments. Oh, Harriet, I won't fear the instruments. Oh, bless you. I won't be so adult directed with music anymore. Great. Thanks for that, guys.
Brilliant. Won't be worried about the noise. Take music as literal. Everything can be musical.
I won't cable tie the instruments to the outdoor area anymore. Oh dear. Yeah. Well, you know, at least you're not quite using seat belts or emergency exits yet, so don't worry too much.
Okay, Danny, I think I'm going to ask to go to the next mentee just because of time. Thank you so much for that. I want to. You might have already done this because you can go through at your own pace. Break free.
Very good. I love that person. Set up a playlist. Great. Feel confident when teaching, supporting children musically. I want to listen more. Create an environment where children can reach their potential. Wonderful, 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 wonderful.
Bring my son's guitar in for my 2-year-olds to explore. Brilliant, Leanne. Try out more diverse songs. Great. Oh, look at this one, Jane. I'm going to read this in case you get shy. I want to share your outstanding practice with my team. For that, Jane. Look at that. Oh, it's not brilliant. It's true.
Hey, it's the most of the video. It's always a team effort. There's a big team behind Take Art. Sue, there are lots of people that are doing work in the background. It's a lot of people.
Okay, so Danny, could we have the last one, please, just because of time? Sorry if you haven't had a chance to finish this one. I will. I tell you what, someone's on Gloria Gaynor all the way, aren't they? So this is your affirmation moment. This is what, stop it. This is what you think you might do. You might be able to go and do it this afternoon.
Oh, funny.
Offer more instruments at all times. That's great. Yeah, that can be a big one, isn't it? Making it part of continuous provision. Yeah. Try my best always. Ask them about the music they like. Yeah, great. Okay, Danny, I think we need to stop purely because of time. So apologies if you haven't had time there. But I think I need to hand back over to Charlotte because I don't want to overrun. So I shall do that. Thank you so very much, Jane.
Thank you, Kate. So yes, on behalf of Culture Bridge North East, I just want to say a massive thank you to Kate and Jane for today, and Danny for doing some brilliant stage management too. So thank you so much. What a brilliant workshop. It's been brilliant. I've really enjoyed it and I hope you all have too. And thank you so much to our delegates for joining in so well. I hope you got a lot from it. We're going to be sending out the links, the PowerPoint and the film to you in the next week or so. And it will then be on our website after that. So we'll have a look at that when it's ready. So finally, I'll just ask you all to please fill out the feedback form that you sent out today, because it's really important to us. But what I do need to tell you is that sadly, the National Bridge programme is drawing to a close this month. So Culture Bridge, this is the last of our Culture Bridge programme this month. However, the good news is that Tyne Weir Archives and Museums, who manage us, have received some funding from Arts Council to continue some of the work. So you can watch this space. There's going to be more CPD sessions in the future. You can sign up to our newsletter if you haven't already done so, because we'll keep you up to date with what we're going to do next. And you can find all of our archive of our previous sessions and CPD on our YouTube channel as well. So thank you again for coming along and participating today, and we hope to see you again soon at one of our upcoming events, whatever they might be. Thank you so much for coming.